MJ Movie Reviews back again with a on the fly television show review of True Detective Season 3, y'all. Guys, I'm a gigantic fan of the True Detective series, and I mean all the way through. Obviously, when the first season came out, I was intrigued because I'm a gigantic Matthew McConaughey fan, and I'm a gigantic Woody Harrelson fan. Of course, I know Woody all the way back to Cheers, and McConaughey back to A Time to Kill, which is a cliche but really great performances in that movie. Um, I like character actor Matthew McConaughey, not fool's gold Matthew McConaughey. Love the first season. Season two, season two, I've gone back and rewatched. Season two, actually, it is terrible. It is terrible. It's convoluted. None of it makes any sense. The dots just don't connect. It's just a really horribly plotted, horribly thought out. It's just not good, especially in comparison to season one. But do I like it just as just a mindless, gritty cop drama? Yes, I like it in that way because it just has. They just throw everything out there. It's got gritty violence, drugs. It's just got everything. None of it makes any sense. But I do enjoy Colin Farrell's performance, the relationship with his kid. I enjoy Rachel McAdams because I just love her, and I like kind of her arc with kind of her sexual abuse stuff. I think Taylor Kitsch is his name. His character, I didn't care for at all, but I like Lita Davidovich. Vince Vaughn, I was always neither here nor there about, but I thought he was good in the show. But either way, season two is terrible. On to season three. I've watched tonight's episode three, and I watched the first two. Thus far, I've been kind of hearing mixed reviews. I've been hearing some people keep talking about season one. Okay, look, season one is great, but season one is season one. Matthew McConaughey, thus far, to everybody's knowledge, thus far, and Woody Harrelson, thus far, are not coming back. So we need to let season one go. We need to appreciate what we got because what I just said about season two. And here's my thing: I really like season three of True Detective so far. What I really liked is they went back to the structure of season one, which they knew it worked in season one, and a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it's too much like season one." Look, guys, they're going back to a structure that works. They just that's the Hollywood motto when you're making money. You got to go back to what works, but they have done a little additional twist. Um, by making the lead character, African American black, which I love. And I love how the relationship with Stephen Dorff, who I know Stephen Dorff all the way back to the gate from when I was a kid. Stephen Dorff is a great actor. I kind of wish he'd be doing a little bit more well-known things, but he's great. The him and Mahershala, excuse me, guys. I'm sorry if I can't pronounce his name right. They have a very good chemistry, and I love that their dynamic is different than Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey's, in which Matthew McConaughey's is very and Woody Harrelson is very adversarial, and they don't really like each other, but they kind of become friends by the end of the show. Um, in this one, these guys are buddies from the beginning. They're friends from the beginning. They have a very good working relationship, and I love that. As in season one was a very good balance between both of those guys. This one is mostly Marshall Mahala. I'm gonna call him Marshall Mahala. I'm saying his name wrong, but Marshall Mahala. It's his show, and Stephen Dorff is really more of a supporting player. So this is more of if his show, which I really like that, and I like that. Upon going back to the buddy cop, two guys in the car structure and flashback structure of season one. I love that they eliminated all those problems of season two, which season two has many problems, but like I said, convoluted, too many characters to follow. You had four leading characters to follow in season two: Colin Farrell, Rachel McAdams, Taylor Kitsch, and Vince Vaughn. All of them have really wacky stories going on, and it was just entirely too much to follow. They dispelled with all of that junk, and they kept it very simple. They are two missing children, and these detectives have to find out what happened with them. Um, Everything is not big and flashy. Things are very subtle, and I've been hearing people saying that so far this season is slow. I don't really understand what you all want. Okay, I like the fact that they've made the mystery that we have to solve much simpler because, it's being totally honest, I never could particularly follow the mystery of season one. I actually thought, I mean, really, I mean, I've gone back and watched season one. I still tell you, I cannot, as a viewer, and I think the cool thing, what I like about the True Detective shows is that they're detective noir and all that. But I also think it's kind of supposed to be structured in such a way that as the detectives are, solving and suspects and interviewing, that we as the audience are supposed to be putting the puzzles together as well. And what I really like in season three is that I feel like I can follow and put the pieces together myself as the viewer. So certain things that I'm starting to put together, I kind of feel like, okay, I got this. Okay, I remember that guy, and it makes sense to me. Season two made no sense. Season one, I just could not follow the mystery. I basically, by the end of the show, got the gist of it. Was that basically we're dealing with a cultish sacrificing, I don't know, a pagan witch type of situation where they sacrifice people. I still have trouble connecting the dead girl in the field with the antlers on her head to everything else that was going on with the fat dude and doing it with his sister and all that. I mean, I still have trouble, and in the biker gang, I still can't connect all of that. But what I like so far in season three is that I very much can connect the dots. And people saying it's slow, um, True Detective season one is not fast either. True Detective one is slow. I mean, the only thing that makes you think it's not slow is because Matthew McConaughey going on these long little speeches, which I love, and Woody Harrelson going like, "Look, you need to shut that mess up and don't talk like that around me," you know. But I think I think the characters are very interesting. Marshall Mahala, his character is very interesting. That I love the fact that he's an African American detective in the early '80s, and he's a Vietnam veteran who was a tracker. Very fascinating, and it's also very fascinating too because there are many men in my family who are like my father's age, uh, who were Vietnam veterans. I don't know them to be trackers, but I know many men who African American men who are like in their 70s now, but they were Vietnam veterans. So it's pretty cool to really see that kind of characterized in a major TV show like that. And I really like the way Marshall Mahala is playing the character. I love the actress from Alien Covenant. She's done other things, but the only thing I can think of right offhand is Alien Covenant. She's very good. She has some subtle little. She has an underlying oddness to her that I'm not really quite sure about her, if she's sketchy or not. But I like that they're playing with us. Uh, Steven Dorff is just Steven Dorff in his role, and he's really kind of he's a tad more aggressive in the partner dynamic, but I like that, and I like that Marshall Mahala is is you can kind of see that. I love the scenes where they're both working together, and I love their dynamic when they're working together and they're interviewing, and how Marshall Mahala would just kind of sit there with that serious look and just kind of just. I love it, and Steven Dorff is just like, "Do you like kids?" It's great. I love it. I love it, and I think, and look, guys, with all these detective things, we could watch the real stuff, the first 48 and all that, and we know all the way back to when John Walsh's son was kidnapped and murdered around this time that the show takes place in the early '80s. This is the early '80s, so this was the height of the Kids on the Milk Carton and Don't Talk to Strangers and all that, of which I grew up in the 80s, and very much there was a lot of that back then, of don't talk to strangers, don't take drugs, and there's a lot of stuff on TV, like if you see some creepy guy, which usually it was a creepy older white guy with glasses who'd roll up in some big giant Chevy type of vehicle and be like, would you like some ice cream, kid? You know what I mean? It would always be something like that. So I think it really works that they're using that time period, and kidnapped children is just really I don't have children, but that's just a very scary thing. Digressing a little bit, I do remember one time I was at a cookout, and my niece, this was years ago, so she was maybe like, I think 4 at the time. I was like in my 20s, and I literally was watching her at this family picnic. I turned my back, and I'm not kidding y'all, literally, y'all, for like a second. Turned around, she was gone. And I could not find her. And that was my first glimpse into what a minute feeling of what the terror would be like if I had a missing child. Because I started freaking out, y'all. I mean, she was in the little kiddie playhouse. Like, for all of us older guys and girls, remember those Cabbage Patch Kids playhouses that they had back in the 80s, the little short houses that we used to play in? It was like a little playhouse like that she was playing in. And she was in there with the other kids. I just didn't see her. But it freaked me out, y'all. I mean, my heart dropped into my chest, and I really started freaking out. So, I think to have this be the center of this mystery, it is very it's a gut-wrenching, scary, horrific idea for a story. I love the way the actors are playing the material. I think even though this is an entertainment show, and it's noir, I do like that the actors are very much playing this material and this subject matter with a lot of respect. I mean, I know they're not giving a nod of the hat to real victims or anything, but I feel that they're playing the material very seriously, and I like that. I love the way everybody is playing it. I think this season so far is beautifully done so far into the 3rd episode, and I'm loving everything. I don't think it's too slow. I think it's perfectly played out. All the performances are very subtle, and they're not flashy. I think season 2 got a little bit too flashy, too over the top. And I like that they've just pulled out all the junk. They've made this a straightforward mystery, kidnapping kids. And I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but I will say that reveal towards the end of episode 2, oof, that was heavy, man. That was really heavy. That was heavy, man. It caught me off guard because I really I've been doing my best to not pay attention to any spoilers or anything. I just want to watch this cold, and that caught me off guard. That was pretty chilling, and there's been some good stuff. I think this season is going at the perfect pace, and I really enjoy it. I think, to me, True Detective is back in full form. People who are hating on it and saying, I don't care. I think so far this season is very well done. So, those are my opinions on True Detective Season 3 thus far up to Episode 3. Thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, don't forget that little bell, and leave comments down below about how you feel about True Detective Season 3 so far. RMJ Movie Reviews. I will be back with you folks soon.